Good morning and welcome back to Sunday Storytime here on Gaming with ADHD, where today we are continuing our read-through of Star Wars Jedi's Honor, a solitaire adventure starring Luke Skywalker. Now, if this is your first time here, this is actually a read-through of a choose-your-own-adventure style story from West End Games in 1990. Now, because of the style of story, what we're doing is I will read a section of the story, and when it comes to a decision point where Luke needs to do one thing or another, then it's up to you, the viewer, to actually make that decision for us. After this video, go ahead and put your comment down as far as what you would like to see next, and whichever decision receives the most votes will be featured in the coming video next week. So, before we get started, do make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I try to put out a few videos each week covering all sorts of tabletop gaming content, whether it's board games, role-playing, miniatures, or anything in between. And I'd love for you all to come along and see what we have to share. So, let's go ahead and get started. Now, last week, Luke had a conversation with a prospector in the bar, and basically he was given the choice of, does he follow the Imperial General and try to rescue Erling, who may as also be a Jedi, or does he just forget about him and go about his business? Now, according to you all, the viewers, the decision was made to attempt to rescue Erling. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and let's see where the story takes us. "Where's Tol Addo?" Luke asks. "Then you will rescue the Erling Treadway?" Luke nods in response. "I shouldn't, but I will. General Dodonna will no doubt disapprove of the decision, and Luke will be hard-pressed to argue its merits rationally. But an undefinable and mysterious feeling buried deep within his breast urges him to rescue the stranger. Perhaps the feeling is no more than the vague kinship he feels for another son of a Jedi, or perhaps it is something much stronger and more important. Whatever the reason, it does not matter. Luke only knows he must rescue Erling Treadway." "We'd best get along then," Gideon says, tugging a confused yellow-furred biped toward the exit. "We?" Luke asks. "Yeah, we," Gideon answers. "If you're a big enough fool to break into an Imperial prison planet and think you can get out, then you're a big enough fool to get yourself killed. I ain't about to let that happen. It's been too many years since I fought alongside a saber carrier." The prospector's decisive stride carries him toward a definite destination. "But I cannot," objects the short-muzzled biped, trying to shake free of Gideon's hand. "Sure you can, Sidney," answers Gideon cheerfully, tightening his grip. "But there may be killing. The Pada cannot kill. It is wrong." "So?" Gideon demands. "What's the difference whether this young fellow and I do it, or whether you lend a paw? Killing's killing." Sidney's round ears flop forward in frustration. "But if someone dies?" "Too late," Gideon presses. "Young Erling's your hero, Sidney. You can't ask somebody to fight for your freedom, your cause, if you won't." Sidney cannot argue. "Very well, let us go." He shakes free of Gideon's grip and starts toward the exit. Luke hesitates to follow. Although Gideon and Sidney seem trustworthy enough, he knows nothing about their combat skills. They could easily be more of a hindrance than a help. "Maybe I should go alone," Luke says. "I have a one-man ship." Gideon smiles broadly at Luke. "You're afraid we can't fight, ain't you?" Gideon waits a moment, but Luke does not know how to state his reservations politely. "Maybe we can't. Maybe we can. It don't matter. This is our sector, and it would be wrong to keep us out of the fight. If somebody wins our freedom for us, it ain't really ours." Luke nods. He feels a certain respect for the prospector. He follows the miners into a winding flexi corridor, leading to the airlock. As they don their vac suits, Luke stands near the massive airlock transwall and studies the asteroid upon which the hospice sits. The hospice itself is a collection of white plasfoam bubbles connected by long, twisting flexi corridors. Sturdy Durasteel cables anchor the bubbles and flexi corridors to outcroppings of bedrock protruding from the dusty, crater-riddled surface. The cables are needed because the tiny planetoid's gravitational field is so weak, a child can throw a rock into space. Asteroid hoppers and prospecting scows rest in a disarrayed radius around the hospice, tethered to hospice buildings, handy rocks, or each other. Formerly known as 400,324 Henryson, the planetoid is little more than a kilometer in length and half that in width and thickness. The designation number preceding the name indicates Henryson was the 400,324th planetoid in the Siloam Belt, cataloged as a sentient being's property. The name refers to the original owner. When Luke was investigating the sector records, R2 reported that the catalog numbers run as high as 895,256, but nobody knows how many asteroids have never been claimed. Henryson rotates so quickly that Luke grows dizzy when he looks away from the ground. The stars actually fly across the horizon like meteors. To make matters worse, the sun never sets on Henryson. Its grape-sized disk flashes across the sky as if fired from a slingshot. As the most prominent reference point in the heavens, it serves as a constant reminder that Luke stands on nothing more than a giant merry-go-round. Tol-Ado is planet 3 in this system, Gideon says, fastening the last seal on his vac suit. Great, Luke says. Let's get going. Gideon hesitates. Not so fast, young fellow. It might be worth our time to visit 24 Treadway first. Tol-Ado's might big. Erling's family might have some ideas on how to find him. Besides, they ought to be warned. Parnell might not be satisfied with just arresting Erling. Sidney's muzzle wrinkles into a yellow wad, and his ears twitch impatiently. The Parnell may destroy the Erling at any moment, he insists. We dare not waste the minute. All right, so we've got two decisions here. Is Luke going to follow Gideon and Sidney and go to 24 Treadway? Or is he going to recommend that they go directly to the prison planet of Tol-Ado? So, put it down in the comments. Let me know what you'd like us to see. And make sure you come back next week for the next video. So, I do appreciate you being here. Don't forget, there are links to our social media if you'd like to follow us that way and see when new videos come out. If you haven't used the notification button here on YouTube. But other than that, I do appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks.